Hi, Alice Wheaton here again. And the topic of today's video is about a fine balance between optimism and critical thinking. Now, critical thinking is not negative thinking. Critical thinking is being able to look at things from both sides, to be able to assess what's included and what's not included, to be able to go 3 or 4 generations with your thinking. A quick example is that I read in one of Malcolm Gladwell's book that after ABS brakes were put on cars, the incidence of accidents increased, and he said in his book that it was because people were more confident. And I thought that can't be true, because I don't know many women that are going to be carrying the thoughts of, I have ABS brakes in my car, so I'm not going to be as careful anymore. And I don't think men would do that either. And plus, whoever had the accident would have to confess that. So I did some research, and sure enough, there were more accidents. But what my research showed is that there were more accidents because people were used to pushing on the brakes several times in the braking process. Whereas with ABS brakes, you push and you keep your pressure on the brake. So what happened is that people were leaving the showroom with a new car with ABS brakes, and they weren't receiving the education they needed, and they were treating it as regular brakes that they had before. And so that's an example of critical thinking, is when you hear something and you just don't necessarily believe it. You stop, or I wonder if that's true. I wonder if that's right. And you look for evidence to either confirm that it's right or confirm that it's in fact incorrect. And so one of the problems I think that salespeople have is that they think critical thinking is akin to paranoia. And it's not. Critical thinking is looking at things from both sides. So let me give you an example. For every decision your client is going to make, or you for that matter, there are risks and there are rewards. And so we look at the probability. If the probability of a risk is 1%, or even 0.1%, but inherent in that is a high, so if that risk happened, there would be high consequences. If there's a lot of consequences for that minimal risk, then we probably shouldn't go ahead and take that risk. But also, there's going to be rewards. So it's important when you're doing a balanced critical thinking process that you not just look at the risk, you look at the reward. And what I like to do is I like to determine what 3 risks are for this decision and what 3 rewards are for that decision. And when I understand what they are, then I ask myself, what's the probability of either one of those happening? And if the probability is relatively low, then I can go ahead and make the decision. I give myself permission to make the decision. And guess what? Your clients are no different. Your clients have to practice discernment, and I call this discernment. Your clients practice this. So a smart salesperson is going to do what? Of course, he or she is going to go ahead and help the clients understand the risk and reward for choosing them and the risk and reward for not choosing them, and be able to understand the consequences. Does it take courage to do that? Sure. You need to be fluent in being able to create this kind of a model and explain the process to your client. But you know what? Instead of appearing negative, you're going to appear studied and smart, but not a know-it-all. You're actually going to create a whole lot more credibility than if you kept trying to push the positives on your client without looking at the upside and the downside as well as the rewards. So, as you go forward this week, make sure that you ask yourself what the risks and rewards for any decisions are, and that way, when it's familiar to you, you'll be able to use it with your clients. Thanks again for joining me, and have a fabulous week selling. Bye for now.